good evening.
Did he stay?
It's a call meeting to order. This is the meeting of the Bristol County Water Authority. It's Thursday, January 9th, and it's 5:02 PM. First item on the agenda is call to order. The next is public input. I don't see any members of the public here, so I don't think we're going to have any public input, but I will make one announcement. Later tonight, I understand that the town of Barrington is considering an appointment to the Bristol County Water Authority. I know who it is, but I'm not going to say anything because I have no idea what the council's going to do. So we'll see. We may have a new board member for the next meeting, hopefully. The next item on the agenda is the Finance Committee reports and recommendations. Turn it over to you, Mr. Chairman.
I think we got to just go with Steve from it.
Okay. So, you have your budget information before you. I prepared a brief memorandum, just some highlights for everybody. The budgets were looked at, reviewed, and recommended for approval by the Finance Committee at their meeting back on November 13th, 2024. Dan has also provided some good summary sheets in advance for both of those, the operation budget and the capital budget. And just to summarize, the proposed O&M budget for FY 2026 is $9,639,543. This figure is a little over $55,000 greater than last year's budget. It represents a slight increase, less than 1%, 0.6%. And it meets all of our needs, despite seeing some double-digit increases in health insurance costs and general increases in material costs and things like that. The proposed capital budget for FY 26 is $4,305,000, and the capital budget will provide continued funding for the design of the Tucker Pipeline project. It will complete our FY 25 water main rehab project, and also provides funding for the FY 26 water main rehab project that we have currently finalizing design. We'll be putting out to bid next month. It also has continued funding for our lead service line replacement program. And although it's not considered a capital expense, we've also carried $1 million for the demo of the former water treatment plant buildings, if that comes to fruition. Although the board does not vote on the rate tonight, we're voting on the O&M budget and the capital budgets only. We do, for the purposes of estimating revenues for the coming fiscal year, we've assumed a 3% increase. With that, I kind of...
It was the Finance Committee's recommendation to approve both budgets.
Do I have a motion? We're going to try to deal with them one at a time. I don't know if we really need to, but that's the way we have it set up on the agenda. So if I could have a motion for the FY 2026 O&M budget.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion, any questions, any clarifications needed?
Just to say hi, good morning. The only question I have is that as I look through the budget thing, the O&M budget, how are we covered for somebody hacks us? And if we have insurance for ransom or whatever they do, and do we have sufficient funding there to keep up our software? Because it keeps, I know it hits everybody so fast, and I didn't see anything here that says if we get hacked and if any big business does, how are we covering ourselves?
We do have cyber insurance.
Very good cyber insurance, yeah.
Okay, it would be, when we look at the budget, we'll see it somehow.
It's in the insurance, actually, there's a cyber liability insurance line right on, it's on page 3, cyber liability insurance line, 4788. I actually think it went up like last year, the year before a little bit, kind of higher than normal, but we do, every year, our insurance agent comes in and reviews all the policies, and he's been big on making sure that we're covered.
So that's an insurance policy up to how much?
I don't have the policy in front of me, but.
Should we be discussing that number in a public session?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Where outside actors can act upon the information provided? Knowing if there is
I guess
a policy in
yeah.
place?
There's a policy in place, then, so then I guess if we had an executive session, I could ask the question then.
Yeah,
I would recommend
No,
that.
you're absolutely right, I'm just
saying, yeah,
I'm looking at a dollar
videos,
amount
so
for
I
insurance,
don't know if we
like
should
my
be
car
talking about
insurance
that
or something like
before.
that, and I don't know how it works, so that's my basic question. Are we covered sufficiently to accommodate some issue that might happen? Because
well, I think that the fact that we have it is okay. If you want more details, I think Steve's right. I would rather that be,
okay,
if you want to get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Can we have an executive session today, or do we have to schedule that?
No, you have to schedule.
so we
We can schedule something for our next meeting.
Yeah,
And
I'll put it on the agenda.
If it's determined by the board that we need additional insurance, the budget, I believe, could accommodate an adjustment, so in the processes we have, we'll take care of it. But it's a good question.
I see people running and hiding when it happens, and that's the reason for my question. Other than that, I do agree with the budget.
Okay, no other questions, comments, thoughts? Okay.
Can you just clarify the motion again, please?
The motion is to approve the 2026 operation and maintenance budget, item 3I on the agenda. So, that being the motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Carries unanimously. The next item on the agenda has to do with the capital budget. You've heard some presentation by the director. Do I have a motion to, do I have a motion?
Motion to be accepted as presented.
You have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any questions, concerns, issues? Do you need your parking validated? Anything? Comments?
When do we break ground for 101?
For the what?
When do we break ground for what?
That's not a line.
Well, that's a good question.
Executive session is top secret information.
Not on the agenda.
Okay, no other questions, no questions, no
Motion to
comments.
adjourn.
I just have one.
I know we have a vote on it.
Let's
Our
go.
meeting to go.
Let's vote.
Let's vote.
Fire police.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, it's been seconded, discussion's over. All those in favor of the motion to approve the FY 2026 capital budget, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed, that's it, carries unanimously.
Motion to adjourn.
I just have like one
Wait, there's
final,
more.
what?
You said for informational purposes only, anything else you want to bring up?
No, we provide the 10-year capital plan for information purposes only, right? So the rate hearing is scheduled for January 23rd. I will be preparing a presentation Lauren has already posted that, the public hearing notice in the paper, because the legal requirement has to be posted 14 days prior to the public hearing.
I got it tonight.
So the hearing is for modification of any types of rates, and since I've been here, it's only been on the actual usage charge and service charge. But we've also been looking at some of them are minor rates and charges that we'll be presenting. One is a charge for placing liens on properties, and another one is making a modification to our meter charge. Currently, we list the meters for a replacement meter and the cost for each one. But given the varying costs that we are always seeing on meters, we would like to have those just be based on like the actual cost of the meter rather than having the actual dollar amount. So not always having to change that. And then we've also been looking at the senior citizen discount. Not sure if the board would like to look at that. But
No, we don't want to.
that number has not been changed since 2006. And if not, that's fine. I won't bring it up in my presentation.
Well, the question about the senior discount, I wondered if many of us would have to recuse ourselves.
What's the age for senior?
65.
65. And you have to show proof that you live in a home.
In a home,
In the,
not the home.
And you have to be a customer.
One of the things that you might look at, Steve, between now and then is what the towns have done with regard to senior discounts. I think Bristol might have made an adjustment recently on theirs. I have no idea what it is.
They just instituted a homestead act
Okay,
where they're taking, if you live in the residence, your tax rate will be, I'm not absolutely sure it's frozen type thing. For a resident, it'll be one level. If you're an apartment dweller or an owner, there's another rate for that, and so on and so forth. I just applied for it today, because it came up, so.
I hadn't heard about that part of it. I saw some discussion online about people asking what the senior discount was on property taxes, and then there were some who said there is a senior discount, and I was surprised by that people didn't know about that. But my experience with the senior discount in Bristol, because one day I learned about it, I don't know how many years ago, when I happened to be in the town hall, and I went up to the tax collector's window there, and I said, hey, I think I might be eligible for it. And the woman looked at me and she said, Juan Mariscal? I said, yeah. And she said, you're all set. I said, how do you know my age? And she says, we know these things. I said, okay. But anyway, so I was surprised by that. They made an automatic adjustment and put me in there that I got a senior discount or something, but in any case. But it would be interesting to see if they have a history of raising it over a period of time, and if that's the case, then we probably should do something similar. So. Any other questions, comments, thoughts? Okay.
Actually, what you just triggered something, actually. Has there ever been any type of a low income rate?
No.
No, only the senior. It was only the senior. There was a question about that, one versus the other, but it was just a senior citizen.
it's easy to prove. You'd have to do some sort of merit test.
Right.
Low income.
Right.
We don't want to take on that kind of administrative burden.
Understood.
It's not always fair, I know it's a senior, but it's easier to administer.
Okay, we have one more item on the agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have to restate the motion?
No.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
I think it's unanimous.